Hi, Kukla. Some truths don't shout. They sit quietly at the kitchen table, in the garden, in the middle of the night, when you're still turning something over, trying to figure out what went wrong and why it still hurts and what to call it. Today, we're going to talk about 6 words: narcissist, toxic, gaslighting, avoidant, love bombing, trauma bond. You've used at least one of them about someone you loved, maybe someone you still love. I'm not here to tell you the words are wrong. I'm here to tell you what they might be costing you. Stay with me. We have work to do. We've never had more access to psychological language, and that's a good thing. People understand trauma better now. They recognize unhealthy patterns sooner. They know it's okay to protect themselves. They know it's okay to leave. That's progress, and I mean that. But information without context can become something else. Watch enough short videos, and suddenly every difficult person has a diagnosis. Your partner forgets something important? Narcissist. A relationship ends badly? Toxic. Someone remembers an argument differently? Gaslighting. Kukla, life is more complicated than a 30-second video. And the people in our lives are more complicated than a label we found on the internet at midnight. I grew up in a world where we didn't have these words. And sometimes that meant real harm went unnamed. That's not what I want. What I want is for you to use the words with the weight they actually deserve. Because when we use them for everything, they begin to mean nothing. And when they mean nothing, they stop protecting anyone. Before I walk you through each word, I want to say something important. These words are real, describing real patterns that cause real harm. There are people who have lived through genuine emotional abuse, deliberate manipulation, coercive control. Relationships where someone systematically dismantled their reality. Their experiences deserve to be named, taken seriously, believed. Yours may be one of them. I'm not here to dismiss that. What I am here to do is make sure the words we reach for are actually helping us see clearly, instead of giving us somewhere comfortable to stop. Because there's a difference between a word that names what's happening and a word that ends the conversation before you've even had it. A diagnosis is not a synonym for disappointment. Someone disappoints you. Someone was emotionally immature. Someone wasn't ready for what you needed. Someone handled conflict badly. Those things hurt. They are real, but they are not automatically evidence of a personality disorder. Sometimes people are simply flawed, including us. And the most honest question, the one I want to keep coming back to through everything I'm about to say, is this. Is this word helping me see clearly? Or is it helping me stop looking? Let's start with the word that gets used the most: narcissist. When people search for signs of a narcissist, what they usually find is a list. Selfish, manipulative, charming on the surface, lacks empathy, always needs to be right. and they read that list and think of someone they know. But here's what the list doesn't tell you. Being selfish sometimes isn't narcissism. Being stubborn isn't narcissism. Wanting their own way isn't narcissism. Forgetting something, still not narcissism. Real narcissistic patterns are something else entirely. A persistent, not occasional, not situational, persistent lack of empathy, chronic entitlement, the exploitation of people around them, the inability or unwillingness to take responsibility over time, across every relationship, not just with you. That is a pattern, not a moment, not a bad day, not a difficult conversation on a hard week. And here's something we're sitting with. Most people searching for answers about a narcissistic partner are doing so because something has felt wrong for a long time. That instinct is worth trusting. What I'm asking you to do is make sure the word you reach for is actually helping you see clearly and not giving you somewhere to stop before you've asked the harder question. I don't use that word casually. I never needed to. What I know is this: some people don't show up the way you need. That's the whole thing. That's the entire observation. And once you see it clearly, not as a clinical category, but as a pattern in front of you, you only have one question left. What are you going to do about it? So let's reframe it. Say this instead: they don't show up the way I need, and I have to decide what to do with that. Big difference, Kukla. The label is not the exit. The decision is. I have a garden, and I've learned that sometimes two plants can both be perfectly healthy and still wrong for each other. One draws too much from the soil, one blocks the light from the other. Neither one is bad. The combination is. People searching for signs of a toxic relationship are usually looking for permission to trust what they already feel. And I want to give you that. But I also want to give you something more useful. Because sometimes two kind people bring out the worst in each other. That doesn't automatically make either of them toxic. Sometimes one person needs constant reassurance, the other needs space. Neither is wrong. They're incompatible. Sometimes one partner shuts down, the other pursues harder. Neither feels heard. Neither feels safe. The cycle grows. That's not always toxicity. Sometimes it's two people who don't know how to meet each other in the middle. And here's the thing about the word toxic. It puts all the weight on one side. It says there is a poison and it is them. But sometimes you are also part of the reaction. That's a harder truth. I know that. I'm saying it anyway. So reframe it. Say this instead: we bring out the worst in each other. Toxic is a verdict. We don't work is a door. Walk through it, Kukla. Some things don't grow well together. That's not a crime. That's just a garden. This next word I want to be careful with, because gaslighting is real. It has a specific meaning, a specific purpose, a specific harm. It isn't disagreement. It isn't forgetting. It isn't having a different perspective. Gaslighting is a repeated, deliberate pattern of manipulating someone into doubting their own perception of reality. People ask me, How do I know if I'm being gaslit? And the honest answer is real gaslighting is systematic. It happens across everything. It is designed to make you distrust your own mind. That is serious. That deserves a serious word. But I've been in rooms where two people told the exact same story completely differently. And both of them were telling the truth, their point of view, from where they were standing inside it. Not every disagreement is manipulation. Sometimes two people experience the same moment from very different places inside it. But when there's no trust between you, everything starts to feel like a lie, even things that aren't. That's not gaslighting. That's a broken foundation. And those need very different repairs. If every disagreement becomes gaslighting, how do we name the real thing? How does the person living inside actual manipulation make themselves heard? Words matter, in part because they identify danger. When we stretch them to fit everything, they stop protecting anyone. So let's reframe it. Say this instead. We see this differently, and we've lost the trust to work it out. Because that sentence tells you what's actually broken and what actually needs to be repaired or released. You can't win an argument back into trust, Kukla. It doesn't work that way. Now the word that's taken over how we talk about people who shut down. Avoidant. Attachment theory is genuinely useful. Understanding why someone pulls away when closeness feels threatening, that's real. That's valuable. And I'm not dismissing it. But I've watched something happen with this word specifically. I've watched people use it as a reason to expect nothing. They're avoidant, and somehow that becomes the end of the sentence. That explanation and the conclusion at the same time. I have no patience for people who disappear when things get hard. But I have even less patience for using their pattern as a reason to stop asking the real question. Do they want to work on it? That is the only question that matters. Not their childhood, not their attachment style, not the clinical name for the pattern. Do they want to work on it? Because I've seen people overcome hard things when they wanted to badly enough. And I've seen people who had every explanation in the world and never changed a single thing. Willingness is the only currency that actually spends, Kukla. A label explains behavior. It does not change it. Only willingness does that. Now, Kukla, I've always been suspicious of too much, too fast. A feast every day means someone is very hungry. And the intensity at the beginning, the constant contact, the grand gestures, the feeling of being chosen completely. I'm not telling you it wasn't real. I'm not telling you it didn't happen. I'm not taking away what you felt. But I want you to ask a different question than the one most people ask. Most people ask, was that love bombing? I want you to ask, did the consistency follow? Because that's the real question. Not whether they came on strong. Some people love intensely and mean every word of it. But whether the intensity held up over time. Whether the care was still there when the excitement wore off. Whether they showed up when showing up was inconvenient. Reframe it. Say this instead. They came on strong, then pulled back, and I need to decide what I do with that pattern. You are not a victim of a tactic, Kukla. You are someone who sees clearly now. What you do with that clarity is yours, Kukla. All yours. This is a word I want to be gentle with, because this one hurts differently. I've sat with women who I loved while they went back to things that hurt them. I never judged them. I just stayed until they were ready to say it out loud. I keep going back to something that takes more than it gives. You don't need the clinical name. You just need to be honest about what it costs you. I call it attachment without peace. And I want you to know something. Going back doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. Leaving something that hurts, but also feels like home, is one of the hardest things a person can do. The research on trauma bonding is real. The neuroscience is real. The cycle of tension and relief that keeps people returning, that's real too. But here's what the word doesn't give you: the decision. Going back doesn't make you weak, but you were not made to survive love. You were made to live inside it. There is a difference, and you already know which one you're in. Now the question I've been building toward, stay with me. This is the one that matters most. Why are we so eager to diagnose everyone? Sometimes, and I say this with love, it's because the labels protect us from harder truths. It's easier to say they're a narcissist than to say we wanted different lives and I didn't want to admit it. It's easier to say they were toxic than to say we weren't good together and I stayed longer than I should have. It's easier to say they gaslit me than to ask, did we lose trust long before that conversation? And was I part of how we lost it? Sometimes the diagnosis becomes a shield. Not because the pain isn't real. The pain is real. I'm not questioning that. But because the explanation feels easier than the truth. And as long as you're holding the label, you don't have to hold the decision. What decision? Stay and accept what this relationship actually is, not what you hoped it would become, what it actually is, or leave and grieve what it wasn't. Neither is easy. Both are yours. The label won't make that choice for you, Kukla. It was never supposed to. We're still building, Kukla, so stay with me. Not every relationship has a villain. Sometimes there are two imperfect people doing the best they know how and still hurting each other. That doesn't make the relationship healthy. It just makes it human. You don't need to prove someone was a monster to decide they aren't right for you. You don't need a diagnosis to leave. You don't need a label to stay. You need honesty. Honesty about what this actually is. Honesty about what you actually need. Honesty about what you've been telling yourself in order to stay or in order to go. Because sometimes the label is how we justify leaving without feeling guilty. And sometimes it's how we justify staying without taking responsibility for the choice. I've watched people spend years building a case instead of making a decision, collecting evidence, refining the diagnosis, finding the exact right word for what was done to them. And the years passed, and they were still there, still in the story, still defined by what happened to them, never the one who chose what came next. Now, I did not sit with you through all of this for that. You came here for something more than vocabulary. I know you did. Because clarity will always serve you better than the right word, Kukla. Always. Now, I've been gentle with you so far today. But now I'm going to love you the hard way. Some of you don't want clarity. You want permission to stay angry without having to make a choice. Because the labels are comfortable. Narcissist, toxic, gaslighting, avoidant, love bombing, trauma bond. They explain everything. They decide nothing. As long as you're holding the diagnosis, you don't have to hold the decision. You can stay in the story indefinitely, defined by what was done to you, protected by the language, never the one who chose. But I didn't raise you for that. And I've watched enough of life to know there are really only two honest choices. Before you call someone a narcissist, ask yourself, am I describing a consistent pattern, or am I describing how they made me feel? Before you call someone toxic, ask yourself, are they genuinely harming me, or are we simply wrong for each other? Before you say you've been gaslit, ask yourself, is this deliberate manipulation, or is this conflict without trust? Before you call someone avoidant, ask yourself, do they want to work on it? Yes or no? That's the only question. Before you name what they did love bombing, ask yourself, did the consistency follow? Because that's all that matters. Before you call it a trauma bond, ask yourself, what is this actually costing me? And am I willing to be honest about it? Stay and accept what this is, not what you hoped it would become, or leave and grieve what it wasn't. Neither is easy. Both are yours. The labels were never the destination. They were the door. And now you're standing on the other side of it. Be honest. Start there. Not with the word, with what you actually see, with what you actually know, with what you've been avoiding saying out loud. You don't have to rush, but you do have to be honest. I'll see you in your second act. If this found you at the right moment, I'm glad you're here. Save it. Come back to the part that sat with you longest. Send it to someone who's been reaching for a word when what they need is a decision. Leave me a comment. Tell me which word you've been using or which truth you've been sitting with. I read every single one. Every single one. If you're new here, subscribe. I'm here every week with the same kitchen and the same honesty. And one more thing. If this series started something for you, if something in the last 20-some minutes opened a door you've been standing in front of for a while, I made a journal for exactly this. It's called Be Honest. Start there. Because that's where everything begins. Not with the right word, with the honest one. Link is below. Your second act is waiting, Kukla.